Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Facebook. I think my screen is a bit blurry. Okay. I'm just going to wait for some of you guys to tune in. Good morning, Miss Monique on Instagram. Definitely say hi in the comment. Let me shout you out. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If this is your first time, definitely let me know it's your first time so I can shout you out. I'm in Orlando, Florida, and my name is 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐞 For those of you that are literally tuning in for the first time and don't know who I am, I'm an immigration attorney here, but I represent clients all over the United States and internationally with their family immigration matter as it pertains to the United States. My phone number is 407-995-6567. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp is 404-333-8751. Okay, so Tamba, good morning. He says this is his first time. Awesome. Sexy Shane, good morning on Instagram. Good morning, MK Cash Money. I have missed seeing you. I haven't seen you in a while. Or am I mixing you up? Were you in Seattle before? Because you're saying you're watching from Brooklyn, New York. So I'm not sure if it's you or there's another MK that comes here all the time. Hi, Carrie from Panama City. Good morning, Ashani. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, everybody. I have good morning, Sen Bliss. Your first time here. Thank you for tuning in. I have a good topic for you guys today. So let me just get right into it because I don't have that much time most days. Boo Zara says, hi Aisha, good morning. I spoke with you yesterday. My favorite lawyer so far, very professional. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so today I just want to talk about preparing a marriage-based petition and increasing your chances for success. The worst thing I would tell you for me and probably most lawyers is somebody coming to you with a NOID, and for those of you who don't know what a NOID is, it's a notice of intent to deny that is literally like what I call hairy. And what I mean by hair is like there's so much that you've done wrong that it's almost virtually impossible to fix it. I mean, yeah, we do the best that we can, but it is always better to prepare properly. I'm sure most of you have heard saying, where, they say a penny wise, pound foolish, right? So the first thing I mean when I say that is a lot of times you as an immigrant, when you were put in an application to come into the United States, that is, to be a green card holder, that is one of the most significant and one of the most important decisions you make. And why? Because for a lot of people, this is a life-changing decision. This is something that if they attain a green card or they attain citizenship, it changes the trajectory of not only their life, but the trajectory of their legacy, their children to come, right? Because America is the greatest country, that gives you all this opportunity to be who and whatever you want to be. And all other countries are great, but you understand what I'm saying? There's a reason why people are trying to come to America. So in saying that, and because you know what is at stake, when you are putting together an application for a green card or an application to enter into the United States, you have to take it seriously. You have to do what you need to do properly so that it doesn't come hunting you down the line. And if you're not capable of doing that, you should consult with an attorney. You should hire an attorney if you have the ability to, because you do not want to make a mess that becomes detrimental to you ever getting your green card. So now let me circle back to the NOID. The worst thing that you can get is a marriage sham judgment of them saying, we are denying you because we believe that you married this person to circumvent the immigration process. That can be sometimes the language they use. Sometimes the language they'll use is that they will say, this is a sham marriage. This is a fraudulent marriage, or give me proof that this is not a sham marriage. Okay. These things, if you have this judgment, this is almost impossible. Even if you think, okay, you know what, I'm going to divorce that person, I'm going to marry another person, personal. It's literally almost impossible to fix that unless you get it right and you get all your stuff right and together. Okay? So now that I'm off my pedestal, let me talk about what you need to do to make sure you increase your chances. So the first thing is, when you are applying for, coming to America or whatever it is, and you're submitting a visa, just like a tourist visa, F1 visa, it is critical that you do not make false claims on those applications because those things affect you. It is critical that you don't let some of those people that claim that they fixed forms or they will help you fill out the application and they tell you, right, you're married, and you're really not married, that you don't do that. Because what happens is you may have done it like 20 years ago and you're like, you know what? Oh, I didn't even remember that I did that. And then all of a sudden they're sending your notice of intent to deny, or an RFE saying, well, can you provide proof of your divorce? And you're like, wait, what? I was never married, but you wrote that in your visa application. So never think that whatever you wrote 20 years ago for your visa in whatever your home country is, that it's not going to come to haunt you. It will come to haunt you. So you want to make sure that you are honest, and as honest as you can be, because these things are going to haunt you. So that's number one. Number two, if you do get married to somebody, especially if you're one of those who just recently got divorced, and like you got divorced today, you married somebody the next day, just understand that automatically you have put a target on your head. Now, is it impossible for you to get a green card? Absolutely not. But if you got divorced in June and you got remarried in July or August or whatever it is, understand that more so than anybody else, you are going to need to be more prepared than a normal married couple, because automatically they are going to have an eyebrow raise. Why did this person just get married so quickly after they got a divorce? So you will have to prove that you're married. Okay, Crunk, the Hellraiser, and your comments. You are going to have to prove that your marriage is legitimate and you just didn't enter into it for a green card. So the first thing you want to be concerned about is your actual applications. You want to make sure, one, that you're completing your applications as truthfully as you can. A lot of people always ask, I work under the table. I don't want to list that. And I'm like, why lie? You work, USCIS is not stupid. They know people work under the table. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, if you're not claiming to be a U.S. citizen, which you should never claim to be a U.S. citizen, because that will bar you from ever becoming a green card holder or a U.S. citizen. But that being besides the point. But if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you work under the table, they understand people have to live. So a lot of times they will forgive you for that. They will not forgive you if you're a green card holder, if you did that, if you're married to a green card holder, if you did that. But if you're a U.S. citizen, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, they generally forgive you. So that's the first thing. Don't lie. Okay. The second thing is, you fill out applications. You want to make sure that you're listing your children. You don't want them to then come back and say, well, but what about this child? What about that child? And you didn't list those children. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you want to make sure that your specific I-864, which is your affidavit of support, your financial affidavit of support, that is done correctly. That is the number one RFE that a lot of people get, which is that they will not list it correctly, or they will not calculate their income correctly. It is a very complex form, and most people, it's even confusing to those of us who do it all the time. Sometimes you have to make sure that you're calculating your adjusted gross income correctly, especially if you're on the cusp income-wise, and it is always important that you send a signed tax return. If you want to make life easy for yourself, you're better off going to go get your tax transcript from IRS.gov. Okay? IRS.gov, you can get your tax transcript. That will never be rejected, because if it's from IRS.gov, then 100% it was filed. If you send them just taxes like your 1040 or whatever that your tax preparer sent, I am telling you guys, 9 times out of 10, most people's taxes are not signed. And I will take that to the bank. I cannot tell you how many times I've told my clients, take this back. We cannot use that. They're going to reject it. They're going to reject it. Go to IRS Tax Transcript, and get your tax transcript, because you're not thinking, your tax preparer, you're doing TurboTax, so they're like, okay, we're going to submit your tax, e-file it, and they don't sign it. And then they think, okay, well, we're going to sign it today and submit it. They will reject it. So you want to make sure that stuff is signed, but make it easy for yourself and just go get your IRS tax transcript, which will make your life easier. So that's one of the first things. And so now I'm talking about the minor things that are easy to correct. Okay. OJ Blazing, thank you so much. He says the ripple effects of your work expands throughout the world. Too much knowledge and wisdom. Thank you so much. You guys are so awesome. I love you guys so much for tuning in every morning. Okay. So I've talked about consistent info and sponsorship. Now let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is proving you have a bona fide marriage. There are many, 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 many things you can use to prove you have a bona fide marriage. And it is important that if you are an immigrant and you are trying to file for a green card, that things that you feel are annoying, you need to do it. Like I've had people say, well, we don't take pictures that much. Like, where are we going? But here's the thing. If you're filing for a green card, you need to do it. You need to take pictures. They need to see a relationship. And when I say take pictures, I'm not talking about, just you and your spouse sitting in the room, taking pictures, selfies, taking pictures of you guys making out or whatever. They don't want to see that. Those are all staged pictures. What they want to see is pictures of real life, real things happening. You guys going out, to Disney, you guys going out to Universal Studios, you guys going to Statue of Liberty. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm just giving you random things based on, where I live, wherever you live, basically. So sometimes people are like, I can't travel, we can't travel. I don't have people. But there are many things, even within your state, that you can do. They want to see pictures of family. They want to see pictures of friends, people that are around you guys. Because when you have a marriage, most people don't hide their marriage. Now, if you're in a same-sex marriage, it's a little bit different. And obviously there's a little bit more grace that's extended, because depending on what country you're from, if you're not out of the closet, it might be more difficult to be more open with that. So there's more grace there and other things that they're looking at. But if you are in a heterosexual relationship, they are expecting to see that. If you're submitting bank statements, so sometimes you might submit your stuff early. And if you submit your stuff early, you might not have accumulated a lot of things, because it's like, you got married in June and you're submitting your stuff in August. So you might not have accumulated a lot of things. But during the process, you have about 12 months for most people while your case is pending. You want to start to accumulate things to make sure that you're able to show you have a bona fide marriage. If you're submitting bank accounts, you want to make sure, just understand this. You cannot just send a bank statement and say, here you go, here's a bank statement with both of our names showing you have a bank statement. You want to make sure that that bank statement shows both of you spending. Like, I do not want to see a bank statement that only has one person's debit card being swiped, okay? My clients, sometimes are shocked at the level of detail in which, and I'm not even trying to gas myself, but at the level of detail in which I go through their bank statements and on the line and ask questions. Okay, you live in Florida. Why is this bank statement from Massachusetts? Why is this statement saying you spent in Alabama? Why is this statement saying you spent there? Because if you can answer me, you're not going to be able to answer USCIS. So you have to be very mindful of the bank statements that you're sending. Your bank statements have to reflect your life, meaning you and your spouse are using those banks, on that bank statements, they need to see that transaction is happening, number one. Number two, they need to see husband and wife, or whatever, wife and wife, husband and husband, using that bank statement. That's number two or number three. And also, it has to be consistent with where you say you live. If your bank statements are not showing that, and you're going to give them, and they're showing something completely opposite, you are going to raise a red flag of, well, why are all these bank statements saying all of this? Now, I know that there are some people, especially those from the Caribbean, that do what they call, is it susu, or what? I think it's susu is what you guys call it. Where, you guys do like money rotation, like where, like as a way to save money, like, one person will get all the money this month and one person will Zelle all the money or whatever like that. If you do that, it is very imperative that you communicate that with your lawyer, because that's something that we definitely want to include and highlight. These amounts are part of the SUSE money train that this client was doing, because otherwise they'll want to know, well, who are all those people bringing money? Where all this money coming from? Or is it called the Pirate Plan? Okay, so somebody says it's called the Pirate Plan. I think that's what it's called. I don't know, but I know it's called like Susu or something like that. But basically, so you want to be able to explain that. So that's one thing. Another thing is if you file taxes, so even if your spouse chooses, let's say, your spouse chooses to file by themselves, but your spouse should never be filing as single. Your spouse should not be filing as head of household. They should be married, filing as married. Even if they're not filing married, filing jointly, they should at least be filing married, filing separately, just because they need to acknowledge their marriage, right? Sometimes, you have a spouse or a situation where, it makes sense to separate your taxes, but you have to be able to explain that when they ask that. Obviously, other things. How are you involved in your spouse's life? If you marry someone that they have children, what are you doing with the children? Do you take them to school? Are you listed as an emergency contact? Do you pick your children up from school? Those are all good things to send. A lot of times, people send me like greeting cards, like greeting cards, like, happy birthday card from their spouse, or, whatever it is. I will tell you that most of the time the officers will say, well, we don't know who wrote this. So we good that you sent it, but we're not going to give it any weight. So what is more critical are things, messages between the two of you. So like, like if let's say, you guys have social media like Facebook or Instagram, and you post your spouse and people compliment you guys, oh, a power couple, great couple, happy anniversary. Those are good. And it's always good to have that and show the comments of people commenting, meaning that people are endorsing and acknowledging your marriage. I know this topic can go on forever. And I know I have like 10 more minutes, or actually 9 more minutes, so I might not be able to get through everything. I might do a part two, because I see a bunch of questions. But so those are some things, that you can get. Again, the list is exhaustive and I would never be able to finish going through it in today's live, but those are some things that you want to look at. And then the last thing I want to talk about is interview preparation. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Interview preparation is so important, because if you are on the cusp, that interview preparation is what is going to make you or break you. And what I mean by that is that, sometimes you might have a couple that's like, well, we're really married, we don't need to prep. I've had couples with kids that got denied because they didn't believe they had a real marriage, because they didn't prepare. And one spouse did not know absolutely anything about the other spouse. Now, does that happen in real marriages? Yeah. There are many questions that sometimes they ask and I don't know the answer to. And I've been married for 11 years, so it is important that even though you feel that you know your spouse and that you're married and that you've been married for a couple of years, that you prepare for the interview. Remember what I just said in the beginning of the slide. This is the most important thing that you're doing, because the results of it changes your life. It changes your life. It changes your family's life. It changes your children's life. So if you know how important that is, why would you not prepare? Okay. And so what I mean by that is that you must always prepare for the worst case scenario. If you go into an interview, hi Ashani. Okay. If you go into an interview, you need to be prepared to answer questions in a hostile environment. You you should be so prepared that when you go to your interview, you're going to be like, oh, that was easy. So whenever my client said that was easy, I'm like, yeah, that was the goal, for it to be easy, for you to be so over prepared that when you get there, that when they ask you the questions, like, oh, that was a piece of cake, because you just never know what is going to happen. You know, you can go into the interview and all of a sudden they're like, okay, Mr. John, step out, Miss Jane, step in. We'll interview just you, and then we'll bring you back, right? Sometimes that happens as your first interview, like they'll do a Stokes interview. I keep disappearing on Instagram. Can you guys see me? Okay, let me know if you guys can see me on Instagram. So yeah, so that is the final step to your approval, and what a lot of your notice of intent to deny focuses on. You know, if you don't do a good job on your interview, you know, that really affects you. You know, it really affects your interview and you could be denied. So you want to make sure that you do that final prep. So obviously this is a very, very laser short summary because of time. But you know, hopefully it just gives you an idea that you have to take this thing seriously. You know, don't BS it, basically. You know, like, take it seriously, take it like something that's important. Guys, you're dealing with the United States of America. There's no information they don't have on you. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. Okay, so let me take some questions. Shago, good morning from Grapevine, Texas. Good morning, Brandon from New York. Good morning, Morgan. How long does it take to get your Social Security card after getting your work permit? Because it's going on 1 month now, and I've been waiting. I called Social Security, please. They told me they will send me the next card last week. Up till now, here's the thing, you know, about Social Security. The problem is Social Security cards are being administered by the Social Security Administration. So, you know, immigration doesn't have control of that. You have the mercy of the Social Security office in Washington, D.C., where they issue the receipts. Some clients, it takes them like 2 months to get it. Some clients, it takes them like a couple of weeks. They were closed for a very long time last year, you know, because of COVID. You know, as people are reopening now, we're seeing it a little bit quicker. But what I would encourage you to do is, you know, if you still don't hear from them in the next coming weeks, maybe go into the Social Security office and let them confirm that one was actually already issued for you. And if one was issued for you, maybe they'll be able to help you. And then if you do get a job, what you can do is you can actually then do what we call congressional assistance, where you can have your congressional liaison, so meaning your congressman or your congresswoman for your district can liaise on your behalf and say, you know, this person is at the risk of losing this job, you know, if they don't get their Social Security, and hopefully they'll get it to you within a week or two. Okay. Okay, so let's see, what other questions do I have here? Stacy says, good morning. If my husband divorced me before I got my 10-year green card, how do I go forward when it's time to remove the conditions? So Stacy, you're going to need a waiver of having your husband do the joint removal with you. That's a complex process. So I would suggest scheduling a consult with me, and I will go over it with you. My number is 407-995-6567. The key thing also is to be able to make sure you have your divorce decree finalized and that you did still have a bona fide marriage. Okay. Okay, no, this person is just tagging somebody else. Guys, definitely share this video. This is one video that you should be sharing, because I know there's so many people that you know, want to understand what it is that they need to do to increase their chances of success. So definitely share this video. Somebody says, what are the best documents to show proof if both parties are living in different countries? This is actually a really good question. So one of the first things that I always say, if you are doing what we call consular processing, I always 100% recommend that you have a statement. You should always send a statement, like a personal statement about how you guys met each other, when you know, how you fell in love, how you got married, and all of that. It's really good to have that, you know. And that's number one. Another thing that people do when they are living in two different countries is that sometimes one person typically sends money to the other party. So having a record of the money that you're sending, whether you're using, you know, I don't know, TransferWise, money order, you know, whatever, World Remit, all the different ways people send money to each other, MoneyGram, you know, you definitely want to document that. If you guys talk on WhatsApp, make sure you go to your WhatsApp phone and your call history. You screenshot all the times that you guys you call each other and highlight that. You know, those are good indications to show your relationship. You know, obviously, if you go back if you go visit the person, you want to take pictures. In your statement, you want to write about what were things that were very meaningful that you did when you went back to that person's home country, or if it's also your home country or whatever it is. If you stayed at a hotel, having the hotel bill is good. If you have the visa that you got, or the stamp showing that you went to visit them, those are all things that help you to increase your chances. Okay. Okay, I have only 3 more minutes, guys. Let me see which quick question I can take. Udoka says, what if when a marriage ended up in an abusive, you ended up abused and you came out of the marriage without anything? I suspect that you didn't come out without anything. Usually if we dig enough, I'm sure there are things that we can find. If you're in that situation, you can call me and we can qualify you to see if you qualify for VAWA, and, see what your options are. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. One more question. Okay, somebody said, I was sent an RFE, but I never received it. I requested for another one. It's about 3 weeks down, and I still haven't received the new one sent out. Is there a way for me to track it? No, there's no way for you to track it or print it out. You just have to wait. Usually, if you've not received it after 30 days, you definitely want to reach out again. So somebody says, this is actually a good question. If you're married and the tax officer that did your tax file forgot to update your status as married, what should you do before submitting your application? First of all, you need to fire your tax person, because you don't forget to change your status, because those things change your tax liability, whether you're married or single. But if that is the case, you can actually amend your application. So you can have them amend your application. Sexy Shayna says, going to get to keep in touch with you about my filing. Talked to you like 2 months ago. Okay, so I'm not really sure the question, if you're asking me a question. Okay, guys. Okay, this is the last question. Morgan says, if you get an email saying USCI is ready for an interview, how long more should I look out for them to send it to me? That means absolutely nothing. What they just are saying is that they have everything that they need, is essentially what they're saying. They can say that, and they may not even schedule you for like 6 months, So it's just basically saying we have everything that we need right now to schedule you. So that's all it's saying. Sometimes they could schedule you a month later, sometimes it could be 6 months. So there's no timeline. It's just saying we have everything that we need. We've sent your files to your field office. And when we're ready to schedule you, we're ready to schedule you. And so that would then happen, whenever. Well, okay. I hope you guys have a great day. Tomorrow is my 5th year celebrating my firm. So we will be celebrating in the office. I will try to come on live around somewhere between 9 to 10 a.m. So you should come on here and celebrate with me. I would love to have you guys here. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye.